crying is probably one of the most releasing and miserable things at the same time, because if you can't stop crying, it can become a hindrance in your life. And after a major upset, like, you're going to cry, but it's when it becomes a habit that it becomes a problem, because you have to release these emotions, but it also can start becoming a problem in your life. So let's just get into, I don't know if these are steps, but these are the things that I identified in my life to stop crying. My name is Sherry Lorena. I am a life coach, and I help individuals go from brokenness into breakthroughs. And I coach men and women after divorce. That's normally the people that come to me. I have been in the personal development world for over 25 years, in the energy world for over 25 years. And sometimes I just think, well, these are just basic things, but they're not basic for everybody, because not everybody's been studying this stuff for 25 years like I have. So I have my notes that are here, and I have my little thing because I get really antsy as I talk on the video. So let's get into this. So one, that you have to understand, crying can become very addictive to the mind because it releases happy hormones, even though it sounds counterproductive. But the happy hormones, you're releasing, the dopamine in your mind, and it becomes addictive to the brain, to the body, to the soul, because it's like, well, I know how to get that happy hormone, even though you're feeling like crap, let's cry. And so you start crying all the time, and then you cry some more, and then you cry some more. Especially if you're going through a divorce, a long divorce, that you were married for a lot of years, or you weren't married for a lot of years. I don't know. I was married for 22 years, and I divorced a man that I knew would eventually get better. And it was a really hard time for me, and my body started doing stuff because I didn't cry. Like, I wasn't a crier for years. Like, for the first 40 years of my life, I didn't cry. So when I started crying, it was such a foreign world to me. So I had to understand, and I researched, and I'm a researcher. That's how I find all this information out. And I incorporate it into my healing process. So you're not understand, crying is addictive. And just because you have these emotions doesn't mean that you can't learn to process them in a new way. So identify why you're crying. Why are you crying every day? Is it every day that you're crying? Is it every week that you're crying? Are you just trying to get a hold of your emotions? For me, at first, it was every day I was crying. And it wasn't a panic attack, but it was kind of like a panic attack, because I would just start crying. So, and the people that I've worked with this stopping crying, it's actually one of the biggest things that I've worked with a couple people, helping them stop, is they have like bigger breakdowns later, and I'm going to explain that. But one of them that I have been helping to stop crying every day, because it was becoming a really big issue with them during the day, is they were sitting there getting ready to have a panic attack and cry, and they were like, I don't need to cry. There's nothing wrong in the moment for me right now. Like, there's nothing wrong. My life is great. My family's great. Like, I've worked through all of these things. There's no reason for me to cry. And it helped them not to cry in that moment, but it helped them realize, like, I'm okay. I'm okay. And so by the end of the day, though, that emotion, that addictive hormones were like, hey, I want this hit of dopamine right now. And they kind of have a major breakdown at the end of the day, and it was like bigger than normal. And it's because you're literally going through a withdrawal of these happy hormones. So identify why you're crying, because this individual, they couldn't identify why they were crying. All of a sudden they were like, wait a minute, I'm okay. But if you have a big thing in your life that happened, like I went through divorce and this is why I'm crying, how far out are you from the divorce? How much are you controlling these emotions? So identify why. Get in charge of your emotions. So you're going to get in charge of your emotions, but your body still needs to process stuff. So you're going to tell yourself, like, I know we're sad. I know we're having some issues, but instead of crying at 2:00 in the afternoon during work when everybody's watching me, let's cry at 9:00 at night when we're in bed. Let's cry at this time. And so you give yourself an ability to process the emotions, but a time frame that works for you to process the emotions. So as you do that, so as what I did, and as what a lot of my clients that have done, is they set a time. This is when I can cry. They set crying time frames. And those are the times that they cry. That's a big thing. And they tell themselves, I can process this at this time, but I can't process this right now. So once you can do that, say you're doing it at 9 o'clock every night, and then you're going to tell yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to cry at all. And I'm not going to cry clear until 9 o'clock the next day. So you're going to go 48 hours without crying. And it will be really hard, and it will be a big thing for you not to cry in that day. But you can go longer and longer, and eventually your mind's going to release that addictive feeling that it has. And as you're going and you say you hit a week that you haven't cried. Once you get that crying under control and the addictiveness of the crying under control, when you feel a crying spell coming on, you're going to journal it out. Instead of crying, you're going to when you can feel that coming, like you can feel those emotions, like they're ready to come out, start processing them in a new way and journal them out. The first time I did this personally, I wrote 10 pages of emotion out on that paper and things that I didn't even know were inside of me. And I was like, whoa, this goes really deep. And I learned to process a different way. And guess what? By the end of writing all that out, I still felt like I released those emotions that I normally would with crying. So those are the big things. So 1, identify why you're crying. 2, identify that it's addictive. 3, tell yourself, I know we feel like this. We're going to process these emotions at this time frame. Get in charge of the emotions. And then 4, get into the new habit of releasing them in a new way. And then just overall, allow yourself to feel those emotions. Allow yourself. Don't refrain from feeling them. Give yourself grace and understanding. If you are only able to hold it in every day for 1 month, say it takes you a whole month to just get it under control, that you're only processing it at 9 o'clock at night. And then it takes you a whole other month to do it every other day and a whole other month to go to a week. It's okay. Maybe that process is going to take you a full year, but you're giving your mind something to control it with. You're giving your mind direction on how you're going to start controlling these emotions. And you're telling your mind, I'm in control, not my emotions. And if it is a divorce or if it's something else. So for me, when I was crying, I had to say, I'm divorced and it's okay. I'm divorced and I can move on. I'm divorced and I can create something new. And I would acknowledge why I was crying, because I knew why I was crying. And I would also acknowledge, hey, we can create something new. We can create something different. And if you're not even in that place to be like, I can create something different, just be like, hey, I'm divorced. And in this moment right now, I'm okay. It's okay. Whether you're alone, whether you're really struggling with these emotions, just know I'm okay. This is just the now and I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm divorced and I'm okay. So I hope this little tidbit of learning about how to stop crying helped you. And I currently work with people one-on-one, clients one-on-one, and I will link my email below if you would like to work with me, and I will send you my schedule of when you can. Thanks.